Good evening and welcome. U.S. soldiers in Iraq have again come under fire. One U.S. soldier was killed and 6 wounded in an attack on a military convoy in central Baghdad. The convoy came under attack by gunmen using rocket-propelled grenades and machine guns. Soldiers searched the area as helicopters hovered above. 32 American soldiers have been killed in Iraq since President George W. Bush declared major combat over on May the 1st. Meanwhile, a group claiming links to the Al-Qaeda network has released a tape saying it and not Saddam Hussein loyalists was behind the attacks, but no evidence was offered to back up the claims. In Indonesia, a bomb has exploded in the basement of Indonesia's parliament complex, but there were no reports of casualties or major damage. The explosion comes a few weeks after police arrested 9 suspected Jemaah Islamiyah militants and seized a cache of high explosives. Jemaah Islamiyah, which has been linked to Al-Qaeda, is blamed for the Bali bombings that killed 202 people, most of them foreign tourists. Bomb incidents have occurred sporadically in Indonesia since it started its transition to democracy in 1998. Motives have varied from gangland rivalry to political violence and reaction to international issues. In China, areas along the Solong-Huai River are on the highest level of flood alert ahead of expected storms. Weeks of heavy rain have pushed water levels above the maximum safety limit on the river. This has raised fears of damage and loss of life, with even more storms expected in the region. Dam gates have been opened to relieve pressure downstream. Last week, authorities blew up a dike to relieve pressure in the river. In India, at least 24 people have been killed when a bus plunged onto a gorge in Kashmir. 24 people were killed when the bus veered off the edge of a mountain road while trying to avoid hitting an oncoming bus around a bend. Police say rain made visibility poor. Witnesses rescued several injured passengers. And in Burundi, last week's heavy clashes between the Tutsi-led army and the FNL's Hutu rebel group has killed up to 174 people and forced thousands more to flee their homes. The fighting left corpses and used ammunitions across Bujumbura's southern suburbs. Fighting has persisted despite a ceasefire deal between the government and main Hutu rebel group, the Forces for the Defense of Democracy. The FNL did not sign the truce and have vowed to use its offensive to put pressure on the government to start negotiating with them. South African Deputy President Jacob Zuma is due to meet Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, Rwandan President Paul Kagame, and officials of the government in Bujumbura. And now for a brief look at the weather. A cold night is forecast for the Highveld and southwest, remaining cool to mild on the coast. Mild, dry weather is expected across the country tomorrow. And finally, the Sandwald Festival in Germany has opened to show tourists the wonders of the world and the wonderful world of sand. Wonders of the world is the theme of this year's festival. 5 tons of special sand, where the sand grains have corners, had to be brought in from Holland to help the sculptors. They have to use various tricks to keep the crumbly creations together. The first Sand World last year drew in over 200,000 visitors. This year, they're hoping the news will spread like sand in the wind and bring many visitors to their shores. Joanne will be back with more news at 7. From Claudine and myself, goodbye.